We're told that the figures in these two examples are similar to each other, so we can use proportions to find a missing side. The first thing that we'll want to do is identify what our scale factor is. So we'll need to find two sides that match up and both have numbers on them. So in this case, I'm going to use sides 12. Oops, not that 12, sorry. I'm going to use side 12 down here and side 16 down here. Now you may see that there's also the 9 and the 12 that match up. If you want to try this problem a different way than I do and see that you get the same answer, use 9 and 12. So what I'll do is that I'll set up my scale factor. The two sides that I used that match up were 12 from the bottom of the smaller triangle and 16 from the bottom of the larger triangle. Simplifying that scale factor or that ratio gets me a simplified answer of 3/4. I'm going to now use 3/4 to set up a proportion to find my missing side. You'll notice if you had used 9 and 12 like I suggest you may have tried, you'd also have 3/4 as your beginning part of your proportion. So 3/4 is going to match up to the other corresponding sides that I want to find. This time I want to find side x, and I can see that that corresponds to this side that's marked as 20. Well, I have to be careful. I can either do x over 20 or 20 over x, and it does matter which one goes on top. Since we chose that 12 to go on top originally, I need to make sure anything from that first triangle, the x in this case, also goes on top. The whole idea is I must be consistent. So there's my proportion. You can solve a proportion many different ways. I'm going to cross multiply to solve this. So 4 times x would be equal to 60 when I cross multiply. Dividing both sides by 4 gets me x equal to 15 when all is said and done. Okay, let's go ahead and try this one on the bottom, although it's going to be a very similar, no pun intended, type problem. Start with finding two sides that match up with numbers. In this case, you have many options. I'm going to pick this top side 12, matched up to that top side 6, although there's many other ways we could have matched those up. Setting up our scale factor then, I can see that I'd have 12 over 6, which of course simplifies to just 2 over 1. In other words, the bigger figure is twice the size of the smaller figure. So using that as the beginning point of my proportion, I'm going to say 2 over 1 is equal to, and now let's find our x and see what side that corresponds to. I can see that x is here on the right hand side, so that should correspond to this side over here. Now since the bigger number went up on top, this first figure went on top, that x again needs to also be on top. You just have to make sure you're consistent. So there's my proportion. Let's cross multiply to solve this. Well, that's an easy one. I'm going to have x equal to 8 when I cross multiply. Some of you may have known that x was 8 without cross multiplying, since we had said the bigger figure is twice as large as the smaller one. Knowing that the small side right here is 4, I could just double that and find 8 for this side over here.